If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just...
Whoopi Goldberg, long considered the queen of daytime television, was shut down in spectacular fashion on live TV. And the woman who did it, Karoline Leavitt. It all went down on The View, and let me tell you, it was a moment that left Whoopi with nothing to say. You see, Whoopi has been the face of The View for years, shutting down guests, steamrolling over opposing views, and throwing out her opinions like they were gospel. She's ruled this show as if it were her personal kingdom. But then, one day, Karoline Leavitt walked onto that set, and in a matter of minutes, the tides completely changed. What happened next? No one saw it coming. The energy of the show shifted the moment Whoopi started talking. Up until that point, it was your typical episode of The View, with plenty of smug laughter, sarcasm, and the usual left-leaning panel nodding along to whatever was being said. But the topic that day: wokeness, a concept that the ladies of The View practically treat like sacred doctrine. Feeling a bit too confident, Whoopi took her first shot. With her signature smirk, she pointed at Karoline and said,
"Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the..."
Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job. I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know, that's what it is. Now this was a low blow. She wasn't just attacking Karoline's views. She was dismissing her entire career, her intelligence, and her work ethic, as if all of it was the product of wokeness rather than talent. And as she spoke, the audience went quiet. Even Joy Behar, who built her career on mocking conservatives, shifted in her seat. This wasn't just a disagreement, it was a personal attack. But here's the thing. Karoline Leavitt wasn't fazed. She didn't get defensive. In fact, she smiled. A slow, knowing smile, the kind of smile that only someone who knows they have the facts on their side would give. And then, calmly, with the precision of a true professional, she proceeded to rip apart Whoopi's entire argument. Now, as Whoopi sat there stunned, her usual quick-witted comebacks were nowhere to be found. And Joy Behar, trying to salvage the situation, made a nervous joke. But it was too late. The damage had already been done.
The most divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country.
Whoopi tried to get the conversation back on track, but the words weren't coming out as smoothly as they usually do. The audience, usually quick to cheer on Whoopi's barbs, sat in uncomfortable silence. Even the camera crew seemed hesitant, unsure whether to zoom in on Whoopi's shocked face. It was clear, Whoopi had just made a huge mistake. Let's talk about Karoline's response for a moment. She didn't just sit there and let Whoopi steamroll her. Karoline came prepared, and she began by dropping the numbers. Government spending reports, showing how taxpayer dollars were funding absurd woke projects, like gender studies in Guatemala and foreign Sesame Street programs meant to push American-style activism abroad. With a calm confidence, Karoline exposed how wokeness had evolved from a movement about fairness into a political weapon used to silence anyone who dared to think differently. She laid it all out, one fact after another, while Whoopi sat there with nothing to say. This wasn't a debate anymore. It was a masterclass in dismantling woke ideology. The audience watched in awe as Karoline completely outmaneuvered Whoopi and her entire panel. Now Whoopi, who has spent years shutting down guests and dismissing opposing views, found herself trapped. She tried to recover, but nothing came out. Nothing that could save face. And as the tension built, the atmosphere became palpable. This wasn't just a debate anymore. This was a moment of reckoning for Whoopi. But here's the part that makes it even crazier. After the episode, Karoline Leavitt issued a statement, addressing the incident. She said, "What happened on air proves that I will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debates." Karoline's confidence shone through as she declared that Whoopi's attack was nothing more than an attempt to undermine her career and silence conservative voices. And then the internet had a field day. The story went viral. Whoopi, who had previously never had to worry about her power being questioned, suddenly found herself dethroned by a much younger, far more composed voice. And to make matters worse for Whoopi, Her career hasn't exactly been smooth sailing recently. Over the years, she's dragged ABC through multiple controversies, from her tone-deaf Holocaust comments to defending questionable figures. But nothing has been as explosive as this. Let's rewind a bit. We've seen Whoopi get into legal trouble before. Just recently, she was involved in defamation lawsuits from Carrie Underwood and Elon Musk. Both of these figures were targeted by The View, only for them to strike back in ways that left Whoopi with nothing but egg on her face. And now, Karoline Leavitt has joined the growing list of people who have shown Whoopi that she can't just say whatever she wants without consequences. The truth is, viewers across the nation are tired of The View's left-wing agenda and the arrogance of its hosts. Voters are frustrated by the constant push of wokeness in media, politics, and culture. The ladies of The View have been wildly out of touch with the views of the vast majority of Americans. And this incident with Karoline Leavitt is proof that their time on top is rapidly coming to an end. In fact, many believe this could signal a turning point for the show. With the 2024 election looming, voters are becoming more attuned to the biases and misinformation that the mainstream media continuously spreads. And with the growing momentum of President Trump's campaign, The View may soon find itself irrelevant in the face of the real issues that Americans care about. But it gets even better. The media has long been accused of being biased, with Dan Rather recently weighing in, comparing the current political climate to the Nixon era. The pressure on outlets like ABC is mounting. According to Rather, when one side lies repeatedly and intentionally, they lose the benefit of the doubt. And that's exactly what's happening with Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of the left-wing panel on The View. Their unrelenting bias has left them scrambling for credibility. And now, their audience is starting to see through the facade. To sum it all up, the clash between Karoline Leavitt and Whoopi Goldberg was more than just a typical TV confrontation. It was a symbolic moment where the outdated wokeness that's plagued mainstream media was finally called out by a voice that refused to back down. And for Whoopi, it's clear that her reign as the queen of daytime TV is coming to an end. But the real question is, how much longer will ABC allow The View to continue with its toxic agenda? And more importantly, when will voters finally say enough is enough? If you want to see more on this explosive moment and the growing divide between conservative voices and mainstream media, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned as we dive deeper into the world of cancel culture, media bias, and the battle for truth in American politics.